Welcome to the Power Sports channel. My name is Richard. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This video is basically me going over the Rams' 2 games so far against the Bills and the Falcons, and also how I think the Cardinals can beat them in this week 3 matchup. So, yeah, that's basically it. I do believe that the Cardinals are definitely going to have an uphill battle. Some of you guys might not think that, but I definitely do. And it's more than just the players that are on the field. They're literally going to have to beat certain habits that they've formed that have been very detrimental, and I will definitely go into those habits later. So first off, it is week 3. I am very excited. I will be at that game. I will not be live streaming from that game because once again, I did get hit with a copyright strike when I did actually film that video. So basically, it's the video that says special surprise. It was hit with a copyright strike. I don't know if that video is going to be taken down, but it does have like 7 views right now, so I'm excited about that. All that counts. So I think everybody that watched all of my videos so far, I think like 50 or 60 people have watched my videos or something like that. But I'm very happy. Okay, guys, so I do believe personally the Rams are beatable. I do believe that. But there are some things that I'm seeing in the Rams offense that have been a consistent factor with them for quite a while. And some things that I think that the Cardinals could definitely take advantage of, but they have to be on point to make that happen. There cannot be any half-stepping in it. I do want to let you guys know that this might be a pretty long video because I'm going to do my best to go over as much as possible. Once again, I'm going to do my best to try to explain this the best way I can. So that week 1 game, it was the Rams versus the Bills. They were the very first game of the NFL season. They played on Thursday Night Football, and it was just a crapshoot. You know, it was a dumpster fire. Basically, insert little phrase here that basically means it was a crap show, basically. It was about as bad as it could be. So I personally do believe that the Rams honestly lost this game to an extent in the first half when the Buffalo Bills offense was not really able to get going after they scored really that opening touchdown. I do believe if the Rams maybe even get 1 or 2 scores, the game is probably different. Now, I'm not saying that the Rams still don't lose, but it might be a little bit better, and maybe they do win. Because now think about it this way. Instead of Buffalo basically just trying to get one score to get the lead, now if you score maybe 2 touchdowns, now they're playing to try to catch up to you. Now they catch up to you. Now they got to surpass you. So maybe they win the game. I don't know. But what I noticed in that game was this. Basically, the rush defense was basically able to affect Matthew Stafford, I do believe, quite a bit. The running game was basically non-existent. I do want to say that his wide receivers were where they needed to be when they needed to be there for the most part. There were times where, like, you could clearly see that the Rams offense was not able to do what they needed to do by getting defenders down the field. And I do believe that the Buffalo Bills did a very good job of just containing them. They basically rushed 4 defenders, and basically held them at bay for the most part. Cooper Kupp was doing Cooper Kupp type things, but I do believe you are starting to slowly see that there are some vulnerabilities within the Rams, and I'm going to explain some of the things that I saw. So there was a couple of plays. There was a play where Matthew Stafford got sacked, where he just takes a lick. I do believe it was a young man who used to play for the Cardinals. His name was like Brandon Phillips, something like that. After that hit, Matthew Stafford on the ensuing play has like a case of happy feet. Basically, what I mean by that is just feet just moving. More than likely thinking in his mind, I got to find somebody to throw this ball to before I get hit again. And the craziest part about it was every single time Matthew Stafford, for the most part, took a hit, the very next play there was happy feet. So please understand that if you can get to Matthew Stafford, you might be able to force him into making some bad decisions. In that game against the Buffalo Bills, he threw like 3 interceptions, 3 of them. There were quite a few turnovers by both teams, especially in that first half, where literally one play would happen, the ball gets turned over to the Bills. Another play would happen, the ball gets turned over to the Rams. And literally it went back and forth like that for like maybe two or 3 minutes. So that's very interesting in and of itself. I do want to say this. The Rams' rushing attack in that game was horrible. They basically could not go anywhere, really. There were some good runs here or there, but it's not that normal Rams rushing offense that you normally see. Now, there was one major bright spot. I will say this. Cooper Kupp and their wide receivers just looked really good. They were where they needed to be when they needed to be there for the most part, I would say. Once again, Cooper Kupp was doing Cooper Kupp type things once again. But they were just basically held in check. So basically right now I'm just talking about the Rams offense, and I'm going to flip over to the defense. So they just really couldn't do much right at all. Matthew Stafford was sacked 7 times in that week 1 game. It's just very important that if we are able to get to the point where we're able to put hands on the opposing team's quarterback, you have to take them down for the Arizona Cardinals. You have to. So, the Buffalo Bills got to Matthew Stafford a lot. I do believe sacking him 7 times in that game. I don't know why they didn't pull him, but that's their prerogative. They just looked really anemic. Von Miller plays for the Buffalo Bills, winds up sacking Matthew Stafford twice, which is insane. So there's that. Now let's talk defensively. It wasn't a good game defensively for them either. They weren't really able to get after the Bills, like at all. Believe it or not, when that game first started, Josh Allen was doing such a great job of just hiking the ball and getting the ball out of his hands so fast that literally you basically had 2 seconds to basically sack him, and that's almost impossible. So from the word go, Josh Allen knew what was required, and he did it, which is great. The defense only sacked Josh Allen twice. Aaron Donald got back there, and another Rams player got back there as well. But overall, They just, the Rams had no answer for the Bills. I do want to say this. The Bills were able to basically beat them for the most part deep down the field, intermediate and short passing game, draw plays, just rushing plays, things of that nature. They were running the ball on them. I would say okay. It's not like the Bills were able to like really bust off a whole bunch of runs against them, but just they were just simply able to move the ball down the field effectively. And with that being said, I do believe that this Rams defense is not the same defense that it was last year. You know, they lost Von Miller, and you could clearly see that they were having trouble really creating pressure against Josh Allen. For the most part, I would say Josh Allen had some pretty clean pockets to work in. Were they always perfect? No, but nothing in life is. So if you can just have your offensive line do their job, you can make their defense pay. It's just amazing. But ultimately, the Bills basically made quick work of the Rams in week 1. There was basically nothing that the Rams could do. Matthew Stafford once again threw 3 interceptions. It was about as bad as it could possibly be. Now, the week 2 game against the Falcons. Now, this is the complete opposite. But still, you can see some issues with the Rams. So in this game, the Rams just look a whole lot better. The pocket is cleaner. Of course, Matthew Stafford does take some sack. I do believe he takes like a couple of sacks. And guess what happens? The happy feet come back again for week 2. Okay? Cool. So the week 2 game happens. The Rams get a pretty good size lead. So the Falcons have Marcus Mariota as their quarterback. They have a pretty good wide receiving corps, I would say, of core players. Defensively, they're all right. They're not the greatest. They're not the worst. I would say they are average. Now, in this game, you know, Cooper Kupp doesn't even get a catch until like the second quarter. But once he finally catches the ball, I mean, he just goes crazy. He winds up catching 10 catches he caught like 10 balls, 2 touchdowns. And I do believe he ended the game with like 130, 140 yards. That's a lot of yards for somebody that did not catch a single pass in the first quarter. Not one. Now, there is something that I do want to bring up. There's a young man with the last name of Skowronek. I do believe that this young man can actually be a very big X factor for the Rams, because he can line up in the backfield. He can also go out as a wide receiver. He can play the fullback position. So I do believe that he is very important to this defense, to this offense. He was catching balls left and right. It just seemed like everything was Skowronek. I do believe that this guy could be very good for this team. I will say this about the Rams. They are very good at finding wide receivers that not only fit what they're doing, but actually go out there and produce rather well. I don't care if a guy only caught 5 passes for 40 yards. I have no guarantee that the next guy in free agency that I sign can even do that. But they are very good at finding those players right now. They have Cooper Kupp. They have Tyler Higbee. They also have Allen Robinson, who they just barely got from the Bears, who decided not to re-sign Allen Robinson. I do believe Allen Robinson just simply wanted to leave. That's a hell of a trio right there. Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Tyler Higbee, Skoranek, and I'm probably missing somebody right now, but it is what it is. They're very hard to cover, and I'm going to go even deeper into that as well. So the Rams, they don't have a tremendous lead, but the Falcons, it's kind of close at halftime. Third quarter comes, by then it's basically like, I think they're about like 3 scores at that point, the Rams. So for the overall, the Rams offense isn't really clicking. In this game, I feel like their running game was a lot better than the first game, for sure. The passing game was definitely better. Things were opened up, but still, even when Matthew Stafford took hits, once again, if you look at that game, he had a little bit of happy feet going on. So, still worrying about getting hit. And if you look at what's going on, he's throwing the ball a lot. You can honestly say that this Rams offense might be reverting back to what they had in Detroit, where it's just Matthew Stafford throwing the ball all the time. And the sooner they realize that, the better off they'll be, that they need to make sure that the running game is what they need it to be. So, okay. So, the Rams have a pretty big lead. A pretty big lead. And they basically, they almost lose the game. It's just amazing. Basically, the entire game came down to Jalen Ramsey having to intercept a pass. Now, their defense, I would say, played better than the week before, but still the defense gave up the points that were necessary to actually get the Falcons back into the game in the third and the fourth quarter. Marcus Mariota played a heck of a game. I didn't think that Marcus Mariota had that type of talent in him. But he showed that he still is a viable option as a quarterback. Now, here's what I do want to say about the Rams offense now that I've spoken about both of those games. I know that how can I put this? I know that it is not the best description, but I am trying. So, and I've noticed this for quite a while about the Rams. So this isn't just this year. What they like to do is this. They like to put Cooper Kupp, like right here. Tyler Higbee is right beside him right there. One of those wide receivers, either Tyler Higbee or Cooper Kupp, is basically going to run a route like this. And then the other guy is basically going to run above him. Basically, so if Cooper Kupp is covered, he can throw it to Higbee over the top, who is down the field, or vice versa. Now, I remember watching a play where it was exactly like that. Cooper Kupp had 3 defenders around him, so no, you're not going to throw the ball to him. They threw the ball to Higbee, who was in single coverage. Tyler Higbee is a tight end, I would say, an above average tight end for sure. Easily could be the number 1 tight end for most teams in the league, unless you probably have like a top 10 tight end right now on your team. It's basically a pick your poison. Having them on the same side of the field hurts the defense, because now instead of them having them one on the right, one on the left, and maybe you would be able to, possibly break that down and maybe have a good opportunity to see if you could possibly make a play on the ball. Now it's a situation where Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee on the same side of the field, there's no way that you can have three defenders on both of them. One guy's going to get a lot of attention, the other guy isn't. And it's just a matter of who gets it and throwing to the other guy. Now, these are some of the most reliable receivers I have ever seen. It seems like when Matthew Stafford is in trouble, somebody is always coming back to catch the ball. It doesn't matter if it's Kupp, Higbee, Skoranek, Allen Robinson. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It never did. It doesn't matter because they know what their assignment is. They know what they need to do. Only one time did I think I saw where it was just, hey, the play isn't working the way it needs to. So that's exactly what I saw. I am going to say that the Falcons and the Bills did a very good job, for the most part, of just keeping them in check. It's amazing how, it's truly amazing how all of these players mesh together. The one thing I will say is this: the Rams' rushing attack doesn't look that lethal this year. I said that earlier in the video. It doesn't seem to be that lethal. It's just a lot of him just throwing the ball down the field. Now, when it comes to the defense, please understand, if you are a St. Louis Rams fan, I am not saying this to make anybody upset, but you have to ask yourself a legitimate question. How truly engaged do you really think Aaron Donald is into the game right now? Really? When you set a date to possibly end something and retire more, and you literally say, after year 8, I'm done. That's it. I'm out. How engaged do you think he really is? Because he hasn't really had a tremendous impact on any of these games. Now, don't get me wrong. He could start the year off slow and wind up just burning up teams, ultimately, in the end. But the question is, how engaged is he really? He just signed a new contract. That's all well and good. That is truly awesome. But how engaged is he? Because remember, Von Miller is gone. I'm watching these games and he's being double teamed because it's easier now. Von Miller's gone. I literally watched 6-7 possessions where he was double teamed multiple times during drives. Double teamed, mainly against the Falcons. Players coming up and more than likely chipping them and then running off into their route. Or just the tight end just staying there and helping to block them. So there's that. But don't get me wrong. Aaron Donald still got his licks in. He still got some, he still has what it takes to actually get after quarterbacks. But how engaged is he? Because he doesn't really look like, kind of like the same guy. So I do ask that question. Once again, I'm not asking that question to piss anybody off, but at the same time, it's a very good question. This defense does not look the same. This defense does not strike fear in me. This defense makes me say there are opportunities if we are able to do what we need to do. Now, I'm gonna say exactly why I say that. Because they have a penchant for giving up pretty big plays, in my opinion. Especially if you're going up against a team with wide receivers that understand exactly what the Bills are trying to do. I need for you to get to this spot right here. I will get the ball to you as soon as possible. They just don't look as lethal. And the thing is this, Aaron Donald can't do it all. He can't. So it is what it is. Against the Falcons, Marcus Mariota was able to find Drake London for the most part all day. He was able to find his second-year tight end a pretty good amount of times, I want to say. He was able to move the ball. And please understand that the defense was susceptible against the Falcons and against the Bills. They were susceptible to the run. Cordero Patterson had a very good game, in my opinion, against them, of just running the ball. It might not have been the biggest game of just getting like a lot of touchdowns, but I do feel that he was running with passion and he did what he needed to do. And I'm very happy for him. The Bills ran the ball, in my opinion, effectively enough, even though Josh Allen was the #1 rusher in that game. So there's that as well. They just look kind of anemic. And I do believe that if you can get that defense thinking, I think you can beat them. Now, here's where the Cardinals come into this aspect, come into the situation. I think the Cardinals are going to have to play about as disciplined a game as they can. You're not playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, but in my opinion, this isn't far off. I'm just going to say it. It's not far off. Okay? So, the Rams are banged up this week. They say quite a few starters are banged up. Some players in the secondary, some linebackers, some defensive linemen are also nicked up. Players that you already know they're not going to play. Now, please remember, I mentioned something in the very beginning of this video where I said that the Cardinals have to take advantage of opportunities, but at the same time, they have a knack for basically showing like an inability to take advantage of situations when they present themselves. I've seen too many instances where the other team's main cornerback is injured, where their main quarterback is injured, main cornerback, main safety, main linebacker, linebackers, defensive linemen are not playing due to injury, and we cannot take advantage of that. There have been very few times where we've actually been able to take advantage of a team actually being injured. So I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, this is definitely going to be a win. No. You have to go out there and you have to show me it's going to be a win. Because there have just been way too many times where they just were not able to make it happen. Backup quarterbacks coming in looking like Tom Brady. It's scary. But I'm going to wrap this video up in roughly, maybe 5 minutes. Okay. So guys, here's the game plan for the Cardinals offensively and defensively. Offensively, I need to see the Cardinals have a balanced attack. But when I say balanced, they do actually have to stay on schedule. What do you mean by stay on schedule, Richard? Well, I'm glad you asked. Basically getting positive yardage on first and second down. Just when it's time to run the ball, effectively run the ball up the field. When it's time to throw, you got to get it out of there quickly. Because if Kyler Murray does this thing where he hikes the ball and he holds it and he holds it and it holds it he's going to get sacked, or he's going to be running for his life the entire game. And I do believe if you get Kyler Murray in that running for his life mentality, this will be a very bad game very quickly. He needs to hype the ball, get the ball out of his hands very fast. I would love to see some screenplays just to keep them off balance. I would love to see like a QB draw, quite a few QB draws, some of that RPO stuff. And when we actually do the RPO, please make sure that you are properly reading the edge defender, please, because it is very important. And I do believe that this could be a huge game for AJ Green. I'm just going to say it. We need AJ Green to use his abilities as a veteran to understand where to be on the field. Once again, this is all about being where you need to be when you need to be there. Running up the field and getting to a spot, catching the ball in bounds. Because please understand that the Rams receivers are going to catch the ball. Now, I do not, how can I put this? And I hate to say this about the Cardinals, but it's true. I do not want to see us trying to throw the ball on 4th and 2. I don't. On 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2, please run the ball. Let's have a little bit of fight. Let's do it. Now, I'm going to say this as well. I do want to see the Cardinals go after Jalen Ramsey in that first possession. I want it to be a Marquise Hollywood Brown on Jalen Ramsey. Because I do believe Jalen Ramsey it doesn't look that great this year. Yes, he got that interception in the game versus the Falcons to end the game. But I would love to be able to see if we could possibly, pick on him a little bit early in the game. See if maybe we can get him a little bit rattled. I have no problem with it. I would love to be able to see something like that. Try to take some shots down the field. If we can actually connect on some shots down the field, we might be able to open that defense up just a little bit, where now it's like, okay, crap. We were going to do this, but we were going to just basically sit in zone. Now we need to move to a little bit of this over here, maybe some robber, maybe some man. I just don't want their defense to get comfortable, because the moment they get comfortable, oh, cool, we can just get after Kyler Murray. We need a balanced attack. We need to be able to run the ball effectively. We need to be able to throw the ball when we need to, and we need to also avoid penalties. This is very important. This is very, very important. Now, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, here's where things get interesting. Oh, yeah, and one more thing. The Rams defense do have a lot of injuries in there, so Kyler Murray definitely needs to take advantage of those players, those replacement players. But at the same time, if he's scrambling for his life, he won't be able to do anything like that. So we need to make sure that we are always moving down the field. Very few bad plays. Now be mindful of this. I know I was about to talk about the defense, but I'm going to make sure that I'm talking about the offense one last time. I do believe that we actually had quite a few times to actually beat the Rams. There have been quite a few games where I've noticed where the Rams don't score any points for 2 or 3 possessions, but that 4th possession or that 3rd possession is when they finally get the touchdown, and then the floodgates open. If there is ever a time in that game where the Rams are having trouble scoring, we have to score. Not with field goals, but with touchdowns. Because in all of these games, except for maybe 1 or 2, there is always some type of lull that the Rams offense has, but we're not taking advantage of that lull. We're just basically trading 3 and outs or turnovers or whatever. Basically, nobody is scoring until the Rams say, you know what, let's kick this into gear. Let's win this game. And I'm getting tired of that. I truly am. You have no idea. Now, defensively for the Cardinals, I'm going to say this. They are going to have to rush the passer like they mean it. There are even injuries along the Rams' offensive line. Andrew Whitworth is, I do believe he's in retirement now. Yeah, and there's even some injuries along the offensive line for the Rams. The Cardinals' defensive line needs to pass rush like they mean it. Because I'm telling you, if you can get some hits on Matthew Stafford, you might watch as he throws 3 interceptions. You might watch that. But please, don't be in such, and this is the one thing that really used to really annoy me with certain players, not just Cardinals players, but with just defensive players in general. Players so busy looking to make an interception that they literally allow the guy to catch the ball and run for another 20, 30 yards, maybe even a touchdown. You are here to play the ball. And I'm going to come back on that part in a second, the whole playing the ball part. We're going to have to be buttoned up when it comes to the run because the Rams run all over us. A lot of games. I mean, just Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, they run the ball. And I really want this win, especially after losing to them in the playoffs. That was truly embarrassing. It truly was. We're going to have to button it up. We have to win this game at the line of scrimmage. If we are not able to do what we need to do, it's going to be a problem. Defensively, when they come out onto the field and they go into their 5 wide receiver sets, everybody needs to know what their job is because they're spreading the defense out to get one-on-one matchups, to get Cooper Kupp into better situations, to get Tyler Higbee into better situations, to get Skoranek into better situations, to possibly get Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers into better situations, to pass the ball to them. When they spread everybody out like that, it makes it difficult. And these wide receivers are very good at catching the ball. It looks like on average, they're catching the ball doggone near like 7 to 10 yards down the field. Cooper Kupp is very good at finding holes in the zone. Tyler Higbee is very good at finding holes in the zone. Allen Robinson is very good at finding holes in the zone. Skoranek looks like he is very good at finding holes in the zone. If these guys catch the ball, we have to be able to come up and make a tackle. Please come up and wrap them up. Do not do shoulder tackles because they're going to bounce off and they're going to keep running. If they catch it, okay, we're going to live with it, but we need to tackle. No soft stuff. No trying to make ESPN's top 10 plays with a humongous hit. Please play the ball. And please do not hold the receiver as he is running up the field. Because Cooper Kupp is just that good. Where literally there was a replay that they showed, I do believe on NBC, where literally they were talking about how Cooper Kupp literally runs the route and the defender is right in front of him and he literally changes direction and starts running through the defender. And what happens a lot of times, or some of the time, the defender will actually clutch and grab at Cooper Kupp because Cooper Kupp is literally running right into the defender's space. Literally, they are touching bodies. Cooper Kupp was running this way. The defender was like right here. Cooper Kupp decides to start going this way. Defender starts clutching and grabbing. Most wide receivers are not doing that. Most wide receivers are literally making that cut, not through the defender's body, but like maybe through like a clutch or a grab from the defender, maybe in space. Cooper Kupp is just that good of a wide receiver that he's drawing penalties without even really having to try. And especially with a secondary that's not as skilled as it could be, this could be a major issue. But we could still win this game. But we have to lock it down. We do have to limit the big plays that they're able to pull off. Once again, our defensive line needs to be able to do what they need to do just to get after Matthew Stafford. We need to bottle up the run. We need to be very careful because roughly about a week ago, when we were rushing the ball, not rushing, but blitzing, basically, I do believe the Raiders basically went into like a whole screen game thing. We were blitzing, but the pass rush goes right past the running back. The running back is just waiting for the ball, and they just run up the field. So, got to be careful of that. We got to keep the top on them. I do believe, honestly, we need to just keep two safeties up high, and we just need to just limit the amount of big plays that they're able to make because they're just that good. Cooper Kupp is very good at finding space. Very good at it. I am enamored at how he is able to run with the ball. All of these wide receivers, all of them. When you get those opportunities to make interceptions, you got to make it. When you get opportunities to sack Matthew Stafford, you got to sack him. I'm going to give my 3 keys to the game. Oh, and please make sure that you double team Aaron Donald more than normal, because I do not trust this offensive line to beat him one-on-one. So I'm going to give the 3 keys to the game. Number 1, the trenches. Offensive and defensive line. Who wins this? That's what's going to decide who wins this game. Number 2, Kyler Murray needs to understand that he needs to get the ball out of his hands very quickly. Otherwise, once again, he's going to be eating sacks all day, or he's just basically going to be running for his life. And number 3, you really have to contain Aaron Donald, and really, I want a number 4. You have to contain this Rams offense. You know, this might be one of those bend but don't break games because their offense is just that dynamic, and this is a lot of good wide receivers. I don't know if the Cardinals can pull off back-to-back impressive performances against the second straight trio of pretty good wide receivers. Last week, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. They basically got nothing. Waller got a touchdown. Devontae Adams got a touchdown. This is another level of that. In my opinion, better quarterback and overall better wide receivers. I'm just going to say this. I do believe the Cardinals have a chance to win this game, but I'm saying that they're going to win 24-21. Guys, thank you for watching the Power Sports channel. I promise that I am going to keep getting better at making these videos and describing what I am talking about. Guys, once again, thank you. Thank you for all you guys who've watched any of my videos. I truly appreciate it. Once again, I am trying to get a subscription with, well, not a subscription, but a sponsorship from NFL Plus. So yeah, there's that. So guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a blessed day.